So now we hear your birthday is coming up closely. What is the secret to this, your smartness? I mean, there hardly seems to be any change in your comportment. You know, you're still as smart as you were a few years ago when you were in the presidency.
You see, whatever you do in this world, one thing that must constantly be part of you. Another thing that I found very important is exercise. I still play squash. And squash is not as gentle as golf or even tennis. They're more vigorous. And I can still manage 30, 45 minutes or 1 hour squash court. It's too long. Thirdly, at my age, and people of my age, at our age and stage in life, food is not really the most important. And we must watch what we eat, how we eat, when we eat. So that is also important. It's also important that you don't worry yourself into it. I thank God for the way God has made me. If you do anything to me, I react and I'm different. Very much of that. Don't have the stress of, oh, you offended me yesterday. Oh, yesterday, what do I do about it?
Now, let's go a little bit political. Now, you see, you were very much instrumental to the emergence of the past president, Jonathan. Now, do you know precisely why he derailed? Why the policies almost got Nigeria into a serious trouble? You know, what is basically, in your opinion, the reasons for the derailment of the last administration?
Well, let me say what I have said on several occasions before. I believe, and I strongly believe that Nigeria's political claim will be better served if we had opportunity and we see the opportunity of a minority, somebody from a minority group to be in his own right elected president of Nigeria. Now what that will do for us is that no minority group, and let me say that Nigeria is a country of minority. The so-called 3 major tribes together, they are not up to the minority tribes put together. So you can say Nigeria is a country of minorities. So even somebody from the minority, one of the minority groups, is able to, and that purpose was sad, deeply sad. Nobody will say, oh yes, because I'm a minority, I can't get that because no minority has got that. But then, of course, people have said that if you want to know a man or a person, put him in position of power, he will reveal himself. And I believe that that's what has happened in the case of Jonathan. And you can never know a person enough until you put him or her in that position.
Now, do you have any regrets or any apologies for, what he turned out to be, having been that instrumental? Because
No, because as I said, the purpose that I believe Nigeria must achieve by putting him in that position have been achieved. And it doesn't matter who is there. It's only when he's there that you will know the type of person he is. He will live. What position does is that it reveals a person. It exposes a person as he is. And that's what has happened to Jonathan, or to any of us who have been there or who may be there tomorrow. How should what is the regret? It's not a regret for Nigeria, and definitely not for me, because Nigeria gave him that opportunity. He used, abused, misused it as he would. And at the appropriate time, Nigeria said, thank you very much for what you have done or have not done. Bye-bye. And that is what democracy is all about. Bye-bye, and bye-bye it was. So I don't see any regret in that. Maybe you will say that Nigeria's progress has been somewhat retarded. But my own experience is that judging from what we were able to do in the space of 2003 to 2007, when 1999, when I came in, we had to stabilize. From 2003 to 2007, we were on the move.
And precisely this same position is what President Buhari is going through at the moment. When you came to power in 1999, we had the price of crude oil at the barest minimum.
Actually, so it was $9.
$9. So you went through a very rugged procedure to have things stabilized. And in 2003, then the policy fulfillment, started emerging. Now there is this, this accusation in the social media on President Buhari that is concentrating too much energy on fighting corruption and ignoring other developments in the economy and failing to lay a blueprint for direct foreign investment. Now, do you think there's any justification to these accusations?
You didn't even finish off the allegation of the accusation against him. If he's going out of the country too often. They've counted the number of journeys he has made.
Same thing they said against you as well.
The same thing they said against me. Well, the first thing I will say is this. We have a lot of armchair
quarterbackers,
presidents.
Right.
We have as many presidents as there are adult Nigerians who say, but it's when you are in that position. Say whatever you will. President Buhari needs to get involved in the world. He needs to be known, and he needs to know people. And how do you make friends and influence people except you know them, they know you? And how do they know you? By you sitting in your
comfort zone.
President Buhari sitting in Aso Villa. No. Especially in a situation that we find ourselves now, situation where we have to improve our image in the world, situation where we have to really play the role I said in the time of President Goodluck Jonathan, what I keep hearing, particularly among our African brothers, is Nigeria is not at the table. Now, how can Nigeria be at the table when the Nigeria president will not be where he should be at the time he should be there, so that Nigeria can be reckoned with? But I think one should sympathize with those who make these untenable allegations, criticisms, or accusations. What Nigeria needs to do now to get our economy back on rail will require President Buhari to understand and to be in touch with important centers of the world. And he cannot do that by sitting at home. Recently, I think he was in Saudi Arabia. For the price of oil to move below, to move above what it was a few weeks ago, below 30. One country that is very significant in doing that is Saudi Arabia. And he has to go there. And he has gone there. Whatever may be the position of the oil situation in the world, Saudi Arabia still has $662 billion in reserve. Now, part of our own problem here is balance of payment. That is why Naira is getting depreciated because of the speculation. When we say we have $27 billion in reserve, and we have outstanding payment that is due, either for goods that we have bought, or for educational things, or for medical things that we need to pay, between $7 and $8 billion. People know that we are deceiving ourselves when we say that. But if our foreign reserve is robust, say we have $45 billion, now you can manage the rate of exchange of Naira to the dollar. China have been our greatest the buyer or patronizer, trader with us, have been the greatest country trading with us. Now, our president must be close to them. They too have reserve. They will also understand. And these are countries that will be able to help us the way that traditional international financial institutions may not be able to help us. I'm talking of IMF and World Bank. They will give us conditions that may not be palatable. But these other people will understand and say, well, all right, let's do it this way. There are other things. We are talking of economy. Economy has to be managed. Managed in such a way that it will evince confidence from investors, actors, domestic investors, and international foreign investors. They must feel that, oh yes, things are stabilizing enough. And what is happening now, in fact, President Buhari is luckier than I was. I had $3.7 billion in reserve when I came in 1999. He has about $30 billion in reserve when he came in. Now, almost 10 times what I had. And then the price of oil, as you rightly pointed out, was $9. When it goes to $20, I was dancing. President Buhari met it at, I think, above 40. In fact, very comfortable. But then it
went down.
It went down. But I believe it will go up again because there's. And the thing is that what he's doing is preparing the ground for Nigeria to be able to take advantage when it goes up again.
The next question I have is, you see, when I met you last time in London, there was a statement you made. You said, I am a Nigerian who happens to be a Yoruba man. So it took me a long time to figure out what the content of that statement was.
But you now understand.
Now I understand what you mean. Now, within this context, if you take a look at what some youngsters are doing today in terms of threatening the partitioning of Nigeria, what occurs to you?
No, I said something about this on the 15th of January. You are talking about the people who are agitating or allegedly agitating about Biafra. I did not see it. It didn't worry me because, as I said, then Biafra is as dead as dodo. But we should look at really what the situation is. The situation is, our economic situation is bad. We must not run away from that. And when you have a bad economic situation, people then start agitating. So I do not see Biafra as a cause. I see it as a platform that they can use to get their voices heard by the authority. And that's what it is. For me, because as I said in that statement I made on the 15th of January, important, authentic leaders in the Southeast, they don't associate with it. They don't really look at it. They are concerned about the economic situation. They are concerned about, just like any of us would be concerned. So I don't see that using the Biafra platform. I believe if the situation changes tomorrow, you will find that these young people will be singing a different song. Well, it doesn't really worry me. But the point you refer to, yes, I have always said to people that I see myself as a Nigerian who happened to be born a Yoruba man. I could jolly well have been born a Kanuri man. I could jolly well have been born an Igbo man. What I always also say is that my Yorubaness, because I'm proud of being a Nigerian born a Yoruba man, my Yorubaness should not be in the way of my Nigerianness. And my Nigerianness must not, of course, remove from my being a Yoruba man. And the two are very important identity as far as I'm concerned. And so are the rest of us. You have to be born in one part of Nigeria to be a Nigerian. And I'm proud to be born where I was going to be in Nigeria.
Now, when you see the state of the party you helped found that brought you to the presidency in 1999, does your heart bleed? When you see the state of that party right now, with the alleged appointment of a very dubious character as a national chairman, in the words of critics, not mine, does your heart bleed?
About a year ago, my PDP card was stormed by members of my ward, and that put paid to my PDP membership or any political party membership in Nigeria, for that matter. I ceased to be partisan. But until then, I kept saying to people that I became president on the platform of PDP, and it's a party that I cherished. It's a party that I led for 8 years of my presidency. What has happened to PDP is unfortunate. I believe PDP has been killed. Maybe they are now looking for an undertaker to bury it. But PDP as a party has been killed.
It's very unfortunate. The corruption thing you mentioned midway through the interview, there have been agitations, in the social media calling for the imposition of capital punishment for people found wanting in the field of corruption like is done in China. Now, is there any way you can influence policy making to move in a direction that would impose draconian punishment to discourage any indulgence in corruption like has been so rampant in the country?
There's no country that is absolutely free of corruption. Not even China, where death sentence or capital punishment is passed on people found engaged in corruption. I tell you a story that I had. That in Mabulach, London, was where they used to publicly execute people who are engaged in pickpocketing. That was how rampant and how bad it was. But when people come to watch people who have been publicly executed, then pickpockets come along and pickpockets of people were executing. So that is that's as bad as it has been. That is as bad as it could be. I believe that what was bad and what we must move away from is corruption with impunity. And we have had corruption with impunity. And I believe that it's not just President Buhari, all of us have to contribute to ensuring that we move away from impunity, whether in corruption and in general behavior in public life or even private life. Impunity must be. And I think whatever President Buhari does in trying to fight against corruption, he will strengthen the institutions that have been put in place. Yes, ICPC, these were institutions devised to be strengthened. And there was a time in this country when people say, oh, the fear of the man in charge of the EFCC.
Beginning of the wisdom.
Beginning of wisdom. Now, what took that away? And somebody was, I was saying to somebody the other day, I said, look, when I first went to Lagos in the early 1940s, there was the bridge between Lagos Island and Lagos mainland is a steel girder bridge. Now that is no longer there. Now that bridge was there at one time, but it has been removed. So if you have an institution that has not been allowed to work as it should work, then that is, so we have to strengthen and re-strengthen the institutions. We have to have morality, ethics, ethos that we will put in place to deal with this. And then impunity. Well, it doesn't matter what position you are. Impunity you must not be allowed to get away with it. And we can also not, we cannot dance or move 2 steps forward, 1 step aside, and 3 steps backward, which is what has happened. And you have somebody in charge of the affairs of this country, and he writes notes to the central bank, as if central bank is a commercial bank. You will not write note to your bank manager and say, hey, just give me 1 million naira there. You will write a check, which is a legal tender, or you go on and these are things that you will wonder, what sort of thing is this? How do you get this? Does he understand? If he understands, how does he understand? Those who are entrenched, they are firmly entrenched.
The social media is awash with one very silly accusation about you, dating back to the military days, because we talked about checks and all that. The story of 2.8 billion naira, you talked about it one day. I would have loved you to say a few things about it.
But look, it's part of stupidity of the Nigerian press, Nigerian media. 2.8 billion naira in those days was the total money we made from oil. When we reformed NNPC and put Mario and leave Sunday, Mario was in charge, Sunday Awuni as PS. I did not want NNPC to go the way of all government parastatal. No audit, no nothing. So, 1 year after, I wanted NNPC to be audited. And we called the external auditor. And they normally take notes, what they call. And, 2.8 billion naira, we want to see where everything goes. We wanted internal auditor, external auditor. And they made well out of it. Until they called a man from City of London who said, are you people, are you sane at all? Where do you think 2.8, which at that time was almost $5 billion, said, look, when if $5 billion gets into any bank in the city of London or in Frankfurt or anywhere, everybody will know. How do you come about it? But that happened. That there was an inquiry. The inquiry found that there was no money. But you see, another thing is this about Nigerian press and stupidity, real idiotic. When they start singing a song, it doesn't matter what has been said and cleared, they keep singing that stupid song. Anybody who wants to look for 2.8 billion naira, let him go and look for it. The latest, you didn't hear the latest, that the money recovered from Apache.
Yes, that's
I should be the one to come and account for it. It's an act of stupidity. The man who asked for it and the man who gave the judgment or who answered them, they are all idiots, with all due respect. I don't keep account. All Abacha Ruyut was sent to Central Bank. And every bit of it was reported to Minister of Finance. So, my job is, all right, where we can do help to get the recovery. I did. And every penny that came from that recovery went to Central Bank. And so if you want to know what happened to aid in Central Bank, call the governor of Central Bank. Look, was this money, or even go, you don't even need to call the governor, go to Central Bank. What the money that came, how was it spent? Or if you want to, call the Minister of Finance. Because no money was spent except proper appropriated. If this money went to Central Bank, what happened to it? And but again, it shows ignorance, utter ignorance, which is laughable. Huh? And you wonder, are these people educated? And you don't need to. You can go to Central Bank. You can ask the Minister of Finance. Or you can even, the man who help us to recover this. In the recovery, you can ask him, you can call him, look, give us the list of money you recover and where you pay it to.
Thank you very much, Baba. God bless you, sir. Thank you very much.